Hey class, so we're back and we are UVing our model. So there's 4 steps to UVing. First, you're gonna delete any UVs that are already there and create your own camera-based UVs. Then you're going to cut your UVs, unfold them, and then pack them into a 0 to 1 space. So let's get started. I'm going to be using the final model that I created. So definitely do a file and save as. And then save this as UVing. Definitely make sure you're doing a save as right now because you never know what's going to go wrong with. Mine has been crashing a lot for me. Okay, so I've narrowed it down to this one model and I'm just going to center it on my grid. So I'm just going to hide all of my locked elements. I'm just going to delete that extra light, show my grid, and move this little guy to the center. Okay, and then to start UVing, I want to go to Panels and Save Layouts and have Perspective and UV Editor. So that what that's doing is putting my perspective view on the left-hand side and my UV shells and everything on the right-hand side so I can work a little more efficiently. I can also close that channel box layer editor if I want to. So I'm going to start with the body, and it has a bunch of UVs already created, but I'm just going to select by UV shell and delete all of them. Go back to the body, select it by object mode, and create camera based. And you can see now what I have is kind of UV shells that look a lot like the body already. So now I'm going to select by edges and just select where I'm going to be cutting. I'm sure people out there will argue with me on placement of these UV shells, but in general what I'm doing is trying to cut 2 shells. So one will be kind of like a front body piece, the other will be the back shell, and then I'm going to have 2 extra shells for each of the base of the feet. So I'm kind of cutting a ring around the sole of the foot and then selecting all those edges and hitting cut. So for the other side here, I'm just going to select down. So remember, you can double click on edges. However, it selects the entire edge loop. So sometimes that's not so good. And then hit cut. And then the last little bit that I'm concerned about is this kind of funky underarm. So first, let's grab the 2 UV shells that I created. So that kind of major outside one. And then there's like that back inner panel piece. And go to Modify and Unfold. So now you can see I actually have 4 pieces. So the main body, and I can lay this out. So now my job is basically to just cut a little extra give in this arm area. So I'm going to use my wireframe on shaded view in order to see a little better and make some cuts underneath that arm, just in case it needs a little extra unfolding. Okay, and now I'm going to unfold it one more time and rotate and kind of pack these into a UDIM, which is the 0 to 1 space. So there's a couple different ways that we can pack our UVs. So one is for each material that we have, we'll pack it into its own UDIM. So each into 0 to 1 space per material. Or we can assign one material to everything, pack all of the pieces into one UV shell, and then we'll just assign it differently in Substance Painter. So I'm going to show both ways in the next video. But for right now, I just want to show the cutting. So for the eyes here, I'm just going to select by object, delete the existing UVs, and create camera based. And then I've sped this up quite a bit, but basically you want to cut them into 2 pieces. This one, for some reason, it really had like multiple pieces. So what I did was sew all the edges back together. So the opposite of cutting is sewing. And then the back pieces turned out larger in the layout, and so I made them smaller than the front pieces. and pack them into a single UDIM. Okay, and now for the last piece that I'm going to show you is the head. So I'm going to create UVs. I already deleted the existing UV shells. And then since this has a very definite split amongst the two sides of the face, I selected those edges and cut those. I also cut the inside of the eyes, and then I'm double clicking and cutting the edges of the ears, and then double clicking the border of the inside of the ears. So this one turned out pretty easy. I probably could also have cut the nose. That probably will come in later. And then you can see that I have all of these pieces. I unfolded and laid them out. So now I could pack them into separate UDIMs by material, or I can create one UDIM that has, like the one with the eyes, has a few different pieces to it. So let me just put some of these pieces together. Now that means that I will need to assign the same material to all of these pieces. And I'll definitely show you that in the next video when we'll talk about bringing it over to Substance Painter. But for now, what I want you to do is UV all of the pieces of your model and get them ready. And in the next video, I'll show you how to export to Substance Painter. All right, thanks.